What? Good evening, everybody. How is everyone doing? I hope everyone's having a wonderful night. Welcome to the JustTroia Show. And if you can, please like and share. Um, like and share the video. And we'll be right back with my special guests. My special guests, I have two tonight. So let's go to our intro. And then I'll be back to introduce my two special guests. Why is this not? Okay, so my intro is being weird. No problem. We will just get started and talking to my good friends here. He's been on the show before, but Mr. Zay has not. So I'm looking forward to him to talking with him. So our first guest is Mr. Bernard Stokes with King Men's Group. And Mr. Zay, what is your last name?
It's Washington.
Nice to meet you. I've heard a lot about you guys. Well, of course, I know Bernard very well. I did talk, and they have one more in their crew, Mr. Demetrius Lally, who's not going to be with us tonight. Which is okay. We can still we're going to have a really good conversation. So Bernard, do me a huge favor, if you will, sir. Can you tell, and I'll let both of you all introduce yourselves. Well, you know what? Let me do this first. I apologize. Let me do this first. Our Father and God, we come to you, Lord. Just thank you for this day, God. As we begin this show, like we always do, God, we want to give you the praise, the glory, the honor, and the praise. Remove all of us, and you stand up boldly in your will today. We thank you, we honor you, we bless you for these two fine gentlemen that are on tonight. And we just pray that someone will be helped from what we talk about. All these things are saying in your son Jesus' name. Amen. Now,
Amen.
If you can, sirs, I don't care who goes first. Could you introduce yourselves and tell our audience about you?
Absolutely. So I'm Bernard Stokes, CEO of Kingdom Men's Group. And we've been around, as you know, Elder Troy, we've been around this is our third year now of just being consistent with what God called us to do, which is our mantra, which is basically helping rehabilitate men of all ages back to their homes, communities, and churches the best way we know how, through our faith and trust in God. That has been our mantra, and we have tried to live by it, based on what God has shown us to do. And He's definitely been with us. As you know, it's three of us that are founders. So we basically came together and formed a group, and we've been going ever since. So we've just been really just giving God praise and just being excited about what He's having us do, really.
That's amazing. Mr. Zay.
Well, my full name is Isaiah Washington, but I go by Zay. So I am currently a part of Kingdom Men's Group, as Bernard talked about. I am the CFO, Chief Financial Officer, which doesn't really matter much anyway, but I'm still a part of the group nonetheless. So like Bernard said, we were around for about 3 years, and it's actually a vision that God gave Bernard, and I thought it was a great idea. didn't know what was going to happen, what we were going to do. But 3 years later, we're still doing this, and it's been an incredible ride, and we're still not done. We got a couple of events that are actually coming up that we're actually doing. One is prayer, praise, and purpose in the park, happening on June 4th, and I think that we need to branch out a little bit more. So yeah, that's me.
I'm having y'all are frozen. Can you hear me?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, now you're there. There you go. Because I was like, it sounded like I think I got frozen in for a second. Sorry.
Gotcha. No worries.
You know what? I'm gonna do it this way too. While we're talking, let me do it this way. Just in case I need to take me out and put me back in. So for 3 years, you guys have been together. You said 3 years, right?
Yeah, 3 years.
Yeah, I'm gonna put myself into my phone just in case something goes awry. I'm here. I'll be in. So let me do this. Let me enter. And I'm backstage. Okay. 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 All right. Just in case I have a backup plan, just in case something else messes up. So tell me,
Did you? Oh no. Did you freeze? I think so. Zay, you can hear me, right? Okay. There we go. She's coming back in via phone, I think. Oh, sound. All right. Zay, you there?
Yes, sir. Can you hear me okay?
I can.
Yeah, I had the microphone inside my shirt, the wrong
can you
side.
guys hear me?
Gotcha.
Yes, ma'am.
Yep.
You can hear me now?
We
Yes.
can.
Okay. Don't go nowhere. Stay there. I'm adding myself in on my other computer. I'll be right there.
All right, no worries.
Talk amongst yourselves.
We shall. It's all good. Zay, how's your day, man? What's going on with you?
My day was it was good, but it was long. I had to do a pickup at Pilgrims in Canton. So I just got home like around 6:30. Walked in the door. Yeah, about 6:30.
6:30? Yeah.
Yeah. No, I take that back. I walked in the house about 7 o'clock. Yeah, about 7 o'clock. So it was a long day. Just sitting there waiting for the product to be processed. So but other than that, it was a pretty cool day. Did some other things with certain somebodies. I'll talk to you about it later. Yeah. So the realization is kicking in.
Yeah.
It's official. So it's all good.
Amen. I didn't want to get too far ahead, man. What we're talking about tonight.
Okay.
And I know Troy is having some technical difficulties, but I did watch some of the video, and I watched a few other videos on some news clippings, right?
Yeah.
The topic we're talking about tonight, man, that is crazy. I don't want to get too far ahead, but that's what's going on, man. I mean, and it's happening, way too often. Way too
Right.
often.
Like people are getting emboldened to carrying out such craziness like this.
Yeah.
And one of the news clippings that I saw, it was appalling. And I'm pretty sure, I hope to God that person's getting reprimanded.
Okay. Is this better?
Yes, it is, Troia.
Okay. Thank you. Hey, sorry everybody about that snafu. My internet has been acting crazy. Sorry about that. So listen, before I forget, if you want to talk to, and this is why I was outside, because of the barking upstairs. Anyway, again, let's try to do this again. Welcome to my guests, the King's Men's Group. And what part of Atlanta are y'all in there in the Atlanta Metro? This is my friend up here, Mr. Bernard Stokes, and Mr. Elijah. No, did I mess up your name? Isaiah, my bad. Isaiah, got it. I know start with an E. It doesn't even start with an E. Well, you're muted, Shiv.
Oh, it's Isaiah from the Bible.
Isaiah. You know what? My days, we're gonna get this day together. But again, I'm gonna get my life right. I really am gonna get my life right. But thank you guys for coming on tonight. I really appreciate it. My internet's been acting crazy for the last couple of days in my she shed. It doesn't want me to be out there in my she shed. So I'm gonna have to do something different. I'm not sure what, but I'm gonna do something different. Anywho, so remind the viewers if they, again, just in case if they messed it messed up when I was coming in. How did you all begin, and what made you all want to start the King's Men's Group?
All right. Yeah. So we're the vision we had, really is it always has been. I know we spoke about this a couple of times before with Demetrius and myself, but it's always been God driven and still is God driven. Just wherever He's taken us, but it just started at a place where we were at, as far as just needing that camaraderie, like NFL teams, sports, they have that camaraderie where they just able to talk to each other, around each other, and that was something that was kind of lacking, so to speak, of what we had at the time. So we was just looking for somewhere just to talk, be men, get stuff out. We can't talk to everybody about everything, so we just needed an outlet. And that's how it started. And then it eventually just kind of turned into the pandemic, got us on Zoom, and, we kind of went from there. So each year has kind of been elevating into something else. And to the point where we're trying to, where we're doing like these little events every year, trying to get better at doing that. It's not a lot of events, but it's enough for us to kind of get experience, and get established in. So it's been up and down, but it's been steady, which is that's the beauty of it. So that's who we are as a group, and we've been doing it for 3 years. Again, staying consistent and staying in line with what God has us doing, and just really just listening to Him. So just to get people updated, that's who we are and where we came from.
Well, that is So go ahead. Go ahead.
Well, if I may chime in, just adding on to what Bernard is saying is like, even though we had a pandemic for the last couple of years, our group has actually been growing, which is really the odd thing. I thought the pandemic was going to stifle everything because we're on Zoom all the time, but it actually grew. I don't even know. I can't even explain why it grew. So, and that's the main thing. I think that the main mission for us is to reach men. Men in general need to talk to one another about our issues that's going on, not including the world, just us as men being men. We don't have that outlet. A lot of us don't. So I believe that sparks something to where they're talking more, they're being engaged, and it's like, oh, that's what y'all are doing. Okay, well, I have pretty much the same issue. How did you deal with it? And it just sparked a conversation and look, this is what happened. This is what I did. And it's just continuing and it's growing. So once we speak to someone, they in turn speak to someone else to join the group. And it's been blossoming ever since. So I've actually got 3 or 4 coworkers of mine planning to attend this event we got on June 4th at Park, Alexander Park in Lawrenceville. And we're calling it the Prayer, Praise, and Purpose in the Park. There's 3 elements of it. There's prayer, there's praise, and there's purpose. And the first time we did was a couple of months ago. First time that we didn't know what was going to happen. We just knew that we needed to do something on a larger scale. And some things didn't go right with the sound and everything. But I think that was God's way of saying, hey, I don't need you to play no music right now because there's people that need to hear what y'all got to say. And it turned out great. We had a couple of people just walked up. This lady just walking her dog. I guess she just felt the spirit, man, and she just started praying right there on the mic. And it was impactful. And by the time we were done, there were people coming up saying, you know what, me and my husband brought the kids here. We appreciate y'all being here. Because he doesn't have anybody to talk to about things like that. And it was just eye-opening that this is something that we need to do as men to connect with other men. For not just for themselves, but their families as well. If we can connect with the men, then that trickle-down effect will happen. Because a lot of, I don't know what the statistics are about absentee fathers and men that are incarcerated. I don't know the statistics. All I know for a fact is men are very much needed in the home. Fathers are very much needed in the home. Because without that guidance and that discipline that we provide as men is lacking. Your children running amok, not doing well in school, just running through, going to gangs to get that family atmosphere that they so desperately need and want. They can't get it because the dad's not there. Dad's may left the house for whatever reason. So that's our main goal is to reach every man, all colors, all creeds, all nationalities, just to say, hey, this is what we're doing. How can I help you? I don't have all the answers. Bernard don't have all the answers. Demetrius don't have all the answers. But God does. So we go to God in prayer on everything. I don't care how big or how small. That's what we are here to do. And so this event on June 4th, again, Prayer, Praise, and Purpose in the Park, is another avenue. I think it's just going to get greater. We're just trying to be used by God. That's it. We're not pastors. We're not preachers. We're not doing all this grandiose stuff. We're just simple guys trying to do something great for other people.
But aren't you a minister, Bernard? I know you're a deacon.
I am, but in this group, I'm just a man, so, but I am what God called me to be.
And that is amazing because with the climate of our world today, with everything being a Black man in America, if I say that because I can because you're Black, that has to be hard because that has to be one of the number one conversations that you have with people and or women. What do we tell our Black boys and girls, our Black boys especially? How do they survive out here? In a godly way, right? And just in general, just walking down the street, minding their business, and ensuring that they're that they are being brought up in the way, and then but then you have they're doing everything right, and then but society sees this first. They don't see the content of the person. They see the color first.
Right.
How do you combat that with your guys, with the people that you're talking to, or just every day? It doesn't necessarily have to be with your, I mean, just every day, because every day you're black, every day you're a man, every day you're confronted with this, and at the same time as you're trying to change the narrative, how are you, how are you all processing all of that?
That's a good question. The process that we're doing, that we're the way we're processing it is, I mean, as a group, we're all pretty much leaders. We pretty much understand, we're men. We understand our roles, and we all have our own testimony of where we came from, and even what we've gone through in the past. Let's just say the past week. We bring that to the table. As far as how we process everything from life to spiritual and mental. And
Mm-hmm.
right now, I believe that with the climate of the world and what we see in the world today, man, it's hard. It's really hard. You cut on the news and you just see all these shootings, and you see the stuff going on in Buffalo and Sacramento, where the father, had a restraining order against him to see his kids, but then he goes and killed the kids, and then killed, like, I think, another person, and ended up being like 5 people dead inside the church. Stuff like that. It's like to be honest, we can get things out in the open in our group. We can talk about things, and before it escalates and gets to a certain level, we have a platform where we can talk as men, because it's so stressful. And in preparing for tonight, some of the things I was just thinking about that God was giving me was just the mental and physical and spiritual warfare, but also the stress, depression, and overwhelmness. I'm thinking about the father. Before we even get to the one in Buffalo, the father that killed the kids in Sacramento was like, wow, the stress, depression, overwhelmness that he got a restraining order and he can't see his kids, and he got something against the mother. His mental was shot. And here go a couple of definitions, if you will, because I was trying to just think of something to say for it, and it was like, stress is a state of mental or emotional strain. Pressure is influence or intimidation to make someone do something. And then overwhelmness, to be overwhelmed is basically to be defeated completely. And as I was sitting there reading these things, I was like, wow. And all this stuff God gave me, and put on my mind, like, men, but people in general, before, during, and even after the pandemic, there's been a lot of stress. People are working harder. They're having to deal with inflations. They're having to deal with, people just kind of they losing it. They're not knowing which way to turn. You can say, hey, go turn to God, go pray, but then, what they see on an everyday basis is distracting them from doing that, because they don't have a person saying, hey, this is the way you should do it, because it's so much stress and pressure. As we know, pressure busts pipes. Once you reach that level, it's like, I got to do something. And it may not be it's not going to be the best thing to do. Under pressure, you make, our pastor was talking about this certain thing last sermon on pressure, how pressure makes you make ill-advised decisions, unwise decisions. You'll go out and do things that out of your character, totally out of you, because you're under that type of pressure. So, yeah, as far as what we do in our group, this is what we try to bring to the table as far as, hey, let's talk about things before it get to a point of anger or stress or any of these things I just named.
Yeah, because I when you were naming all, and I was like California. I was like Sacramento. I did not remember it all hit me, but I just got a text message was it yesterday or Monday? Last couple of days. There was a man in Loganville, Georgia,
Mm.
excuse me, who actually killed his girlfriend. I don't know if it was his girlfriend or his wife, but killed her and then killed himself. Fortunately, her daughter, I think, was 8 years old, was already at school. So she was already at school. She had gone, but 2 hours later, she came home to not having a mom because some man decided, you don't want me anymore. So now I'm going. You don't have to have me, but no one's going to have you either. And there's a lot of that going on.
Mhm.
Um, how it's hard to get to them, right? But uh, what do you say to that brother? What do you say to that man that says, "Listen, if it's over, it's over. Do not resort to violence. Let her go. Let her live." What do you say to that? What do you say? And how can how do you find them? Because I know they're not just in a vacuum. They're not just in pockets. But
Right.
what do you do? How do you do as and do you do anything? If we know that they're not they're prone to violence and they don't care about the violent taking and being violent. How do you talk them down? What do you do with that? Because there's a lot of physical abuse, and you know that we all know that with different people. So how do you all help brothers become accountable?
I think you have to address the issue, but you also have to acknowledge the issue. Because if there's no acknowledgement of an issue, nothing's going to get resolved. Um, I don't have any examples to show you, but in our group, we've actually, not to that extent. Well, actually, we do have an example, not to that extent of violence or anything. But there's issue where brother was just moved here. He got a decent job cutting hair, and found a place to stay because he moved out of a violent situation in his past. And I think he might have mentioned that they was trying to come back to him. So we were able to give him advice and like, look, in the grand scheme of things, this is where you are right now. You are here for a divine purpose and a divine reason you're here right now. Everybody has a path that they need to be on. You just need to recognize what that path is. Only God he knows exactly what's going to happen, but you have to ask him to show you what your next move is. Yes, things may look bleak at the moment, but the sun always shines the next morning. So for that brother that, killed himself and his girlfriend, there's a lot that can be said about that. One, was there the father in the house? Did he get enough love as a child growing up? What was missing in his life? Because there's no rhyme or reason for a normal human being, a rational human being, to just lash out to extreme violence like that. There has to be that seed. Someone left you or abandoned you to create all these emotions and these feelings and these thoughts. As a young child, you need that. You need that. Like I said earlier, you need your father to kind of lay the groundwork. Okay, these are the footsteps I'm laying out for you. Now, as a parent, because I was talking to my niece today and my nephew, I'm like, your parents, as parents, because I'm a parent myself, we are here to provide, protect, and for discipline and guidance. That's what a father does, a good one. He's going to lay out all these things for you. But once you leave the house and you out that door, there's nothing else he can do for you but love and support you. But if you need something, he's right there for you. But you just can't negate everything that he's trying to show you. It's going to be difficult. But at the same time, as a parent, I have to let my children learn the hard way sometimes. Okay, I've laid it out for you. You don't want to do it? Okay, cool. I'll be here. I'll wait. Prodigal son, prime example. He wanted stuff now.
Right.
That I gotta have it. I can't wait no longer. I'm not getting, all right, you
Right.
want it? Here you go. I'm giving it to you. but I'll be here when you get back. And his dad was waiting for him every single day. How long? We don't know. It could have been years.
Yeah.
But eventually he came back because he came to his senses.
Mhm.
When I left my house at like 18 years old, I couldn't stand my dad. Though he was there, couldn't stand him. I needed to go learn and live my life my way, the way I choose to. Now, you've taught me, or you showed me, sort of, how to live life. But you're not going to learn until you do it. You face it by yourself. When life hits you in the face, what are you going to do? Are you going to go back to remembrance of, my dad laid it out for me. He said this was going to happen. I didn't listen. I didn't respect him enough to care. I didn't respect him enough to listen and to do exactly what he wanted me to do. I got to do it for myself. I'm young. I'm hip. And, I got some money in my pocket. Yeah, I'm going to go do that. I'm going to burn it up. Yeah, all your money's gone. Stuff like that. Live your life. And you see why fathers are so important. Groundwork has been laid for you. But yet, I'm going to love you enough to let you go. Just burn it all to hell. But I will be here when you get back. And just like God, man, he allows us to do things that we didn't know we wanted to do or chose to do. But his grace and his timing is always perfect. He's a loving father. I mean, he's always been there. We just choose to let go of his hand. And he was like, okay, cool. You're going to let go of my hand, but I'm going to be right here when you get back. I ain't going nowhere. Right. So for those individuals that, especially men, we've got to take hold of where we are at our present moment, because this day and age is so crucial. Walking around as a black man is hard enough. Well, it's hard enough before. Now it's just like, wow, it's another black man. What's he going to do today? Is he a criminal? What's his intention? You characterize me before I even have a chance to speak, which is so wrong. You're profiling me. Get to know me. Say hello. Something. Just don't go automatically have this thing in the back of your head that I'm going to kill you or I'm going to harm you in some way. Not all black people think that way, man. We are trying to. Well, we don't think that way. We are trying to raise a family and to live in peace like anybody else. We want to go to a football game like anybody else. We want to go to the movies. We want to go to the restaurant like everybody else. And live a healthy life. Everybody's not trying to do harm to anyone. We're just not. We're not built that way.
No.
So in this day and age, but I think I was looking at what's the scripture? 1 John 4 says, verse 11. Dear friends, let us love one another, for the love comes from God. That's the problem. We don't love enough. Right. We don't. We don't love enough to care enough. Everyone who loves has been born of God and knows God. Whoever does not love does not know God. That's it. If you love, then love comes from the Father. God is love.
Mm-hmm.
You going around harming people, that tells me two things. One, you haven't been loved enough by the people that needed to be loved you. And two, you don't care to know how to love people. So,
amen.
I digress.
No, you good, man. You good. I feel like I'm in total agreement, man. I think that God definitely when you take God out of the picture, this is what you have. You have all these different things going on across the board, across the world, as far as like just people doing their own things. People are becoming more, and I forget the scripture where it's at. It's coming to me, but as far as what it says about how the world will be in the end days, people will be selfish, mother against daughter, father against son, or son against their father, whatever.
All these lovers of themselves and don't care about themselves.
Mm-hmm. Is that in Matthew?
I think it was.
I'll look it up. Let me see if that's one we're talking. What you're talking about while you're talking. Let me see if that's the one you're talking about.
But no, just you know, and how it will be in the end days. But all these things is really like when you take God out the picture, and you have to, I don't care what you're doing in life. I don't care how successful you are. I don't care how low of the point of life you're at. You gotta have God in your life. You got to. I've been in some of the lowest and highest places, and God is always there, number one, but He's always there to kind of bring you in. You have to have Him in your life. You know, you have to accept Him in also. You can't just be like, you know, He's gonna be there for you, especially if He called you. But you have to accept Him in. You have to be able to be like, okay, I accept God in. How do you accept God in? Well, first of all, you start praying. That's how He speaks to you. You know, read His Word. That's His communication back to you. God is real. You know, first of all, you have to believe that He is real. Have faith that He is real. These are some of the key components you have to understand who God is and how to accept Him into your life. And once you do that, baby steps, you'll start seeing changes over time. It's not going to happen at once. One thing's for sure, we will have, you know, tragedies and so many other things that happen like that. But when it comes to certain things like this, it just takes time. You have to build on it. You have to build a relationship with God. It doesn't happen overnight. There's things that you have to sacrifice and give up and stop doing in order to follow His will. So,
Exactly, and Azay put in there is 2 Timothy 3:2, which reads, I have that pulled up, for men shall be lovers of their own selves, covetous, boasters, proud, blasphemers, disobedient to parents, unthankful, unholy, without natural affection, truth breakers, false. Good grief, there's a whole lot of stuff that they're going to be. And hey, Miss Marcy, and anybody who's this is again my guests today are the Kingdom Men Group, and they are just brothers who love the Lord and want to help other brothers become who they're supposed to be in Christ, who they are supposed to be in the world as fathers, brothers, uncles, cousins, nephews, because if there's not a father and there's a male figure somewhere that can step up. So their hope is to do just that. And we were just talking about being a Black man in America and the trials that comes with, because I'm surprised, and still stay holy.
yeah.
and not want, and not want to knock somebody out. And you see all these things, and again, one of the biggest elephants in our society, in the room right now in our society is Buffalo.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
10 people who were in essence minding their own business, just trying to do the one man trying to go get a birthday cake for his baby, and to go in there and this manner of evil display, even though we know us in Matthew 24 that there'll be wars and rumors of wars and haters of men and all of these things, but to see it played out, I don't know about you, that just was like a little bit too much.
Yeah.
That was too much. Go ahead, Bernard.
No, I'm in agreement with you. I mean, it's something that's extremely frustrating, upsetting, and to be honest, it just, when you see it, it really just pisses you off. I'm gonna be honest, because it's a thing of, like, why is this happening so much? And every time you turn around, it's like there's a shooting, and there's certain times of the shooting, and then when the higher ups get involved, it's like, oh well, we see the whole thing that led up to it, and you're like, you're monitoring everything else. You can't see when somebody's trying to, they basically saying exactly what they're gonna do and where they're gonna do it at. Time, date, everything is just right there on their social media page and everywhere. So that's the frustrating part of when we see things like this happen, because like you said, now a father or a mother going to get a cake, going to do this, going just out on a daily routine run, going to get something for the house or whatever, they're not coming back home. Like their life ended that day. That's very disheartening and sad, because you think about your family and think about, like, man, that's tragedy. That's devastation. That will lead you to one of the definitions of pressure that we spoke about earlier. Like, okay, now somebody's gonna act out and do something. Over time, pressure builds up. So now you got somebody that's dealing with this type of tragedy, and now inside they're just being eaten away. And then eventually, now they're gonna act out on something that happened over time. It's gonna catch up with them. So yeah, this thing is very, very, very disappointing, man. And to see how people are reacting to it, and it's always the same thing. Always the same thing. You're like, okay, he's arrested. Like you arrested him, and now he's in jail, and now the first thing he does is plead not guilty after you just clearly, it's the same thing, and I hate to see that, but it also, this is where the spiritual guidance come in at from God, and to try to help you to see things from a different perspective, so you won't go down that road. Because you pray for the families, you pray for the victims, and you pray for their well-being mentally, physically, and everything spiritually. But you also don't want to go down that road of anger, and you're not directly involved with it. So it helps you to be able to, because they need somebody to pray for them. You can't be in that same space as they are, because they need prayer right now.
Right.
They need that. So
right. And I said that today. I said, we know what we hopefully we know what we can give to them, because we all have a gifting, right? We all have something that God has given to us.
right.
And at the same time, I had to get my human side together to see what God had desired, what God desires, if there's anything to do, and the minimum that I can do is pray. But I couldn't, because I was clouded by the way the society. I said, because I for 30 seconds, I looked. I said, if it was different,
Yeah.
what would that look like? If it was different, if the coloring was different, how would we have been treated? And then God straightened me up real quick.
Mm-hmm.
He said, it's not about that. It's not about that. It's not about any of that. It's about the people that are hurting, right? And we need something. That is your focus, Troia. That is your focus. That is what you're supposed to be praying. And as much as one of y'all can talk to that one, as much as we don't want to, we still have to pray for this young man who did this heinous act. We still have to present him before the Lord and pray for him. And even if we don't want to, and get it, we get it, because Jonah didn't want to go to Nineveh. Jonah did not want to go to Nineveh for anything, because these people were, in his mind, were equal. But we have to. How do we do that? Because again, how do you, from a male perspective? Because in this all are really three things, right? As we all are. You're a male, you're a black male, and you're a Christian black male. So I'm sure there's emotion, all of those. How do you, and going back to that, how do we reconcile? How do we heal ourselves first, and then be able to tend to those who need us the most?
I think for me, as hard as the news is about mass shootings and how our black men are being taken away from us, the internal struggle is very real, and it's disheartening, because why are we being hunted down like some wild animal that we're not? Like I said earlier, you fear something that you don't understand. So your first reaction is to kill it, not thinking anything beyond that. He's a father. He's a brother. He's a cousin. They just don't care. So I think for me, it's like I really have to calm my spirit down, because the reaction is the same of I want revenge for my brother of color. I want revenge. And then I would have to go talk to Bernard, I'll talk to Demetrius, I'll talk to any one of the guys in the group. And that's one reason why this group is formed, so that we can express all the emotions, all the feelings and anxiety that we get from seeing this on a daily basis. It's very frustrating to know that another white man, little boy, 18 years old, decided to drive 300 miles to kill Black people because of some stupid agenda like, oh, they're taking away all the rights and everything else. Where are you getting your information from? Who taught you to hate like that? That's where it starts. Who taught you to hate? Was it your parents? Some mentor? They need a lot of help in that direction. They need a lot of prayer. And, you know, same for the Charleston shooter. That baffled me because I'm from there. I'm like, how do you kill these beautiful angels? They're pouring out their heart to you. Pouring out their heart to you. And you just dismissed everything. You dismissed the love that was shown to you, the encouragement that was shown to you. You didn't care whatsoever. Only thing that you had on your mind was like, I'm going to get away with this and nothing's going to happen because I'm white. That white privilege exists, it's real, and it's happening today.
I wanted to comment on that too, if you will. You know, it's so crazy because speaking of this very thing and how people think in their minds, you know, saw a movie. Shay and I saw a movie, Doctor Strange too, right? And the battlefield starts with the mind, like it's here, right? It's a mental warfare, right? So there was a scene in the movie where it was a battle takes place between the Scarlet Witch and, you know, just a spoiler alert for those who haven't seen it. The Scarlet Witch and Doctor Strange's crew on the ground, right?
I haven't seen it yet. Go ahead.
Oh, do you not want me to tell it?
Go ahead.
It's a bit.
I ain't going to the movie theater, but go ahead.
Oh, okay, yeah, you good.
I'll
So
wait.
in this scene, she can't get. They are together and they putting up these force fields. So each person has their own force field to stop her from attacking. So they're on the ground and they got this force field up. She can't get through. She cannot penetrate. But as she's looking down, she finds the weakest one. She see that he's the weak one. And once she saw him, she zoomed in and she was like, she whispered one thing to him, run. And as he takes off running, now everyone else is being affected by the force field. So the force field weakens and now she comes in and attack. That example was based on, and what we're talking about now is like, man, the mind is being attacked by everybody. Like Malcolm X, I always say this, Malcolm X said, the media has the power to make an innocent man guilty and a guilty man innocent because they control the minds of the masses. When you control the mind of the masses, this is what happens. So now you have people walking around, like Zay, you said that, you know, is he learning this from his parents? He ain't even got to do that. Social media. He can go online and just see all these different things and he just eat that stuff up. His mind is eating it up. All the negativity. As little positivity there is on social media, there's more negativity. And the more he eats that up, him and people alike, they just go out and they act on it. And they do things like this. And I hate to say it, but it's as simple as that. You know, there's people with weak minds in this world. There's people with strong minds. Go ahead.
That go to it. And I mean, and this is gonna have to be a part 2 conversation, because when you said that, it brought something else up to me when you talk about the mind. Because what also that has been and we are getting ready to shut down, because I have exactly 1 minute to say what I need to say, and then y'all get 10 minutes to say what you gotta say. Because it's not just that, it's also, so I think it is a social media thing, because the last few months we've lost a lot of our young people to suicide.
A lot.
And a lot of people are committing suicide like there's no hope at all. And my heart broke, because I think it was first Regina King's son, then there was the Miss USA. Then there was the young man from Walking Dead or something, the TV show, the zombie one.
Yeah, The Walking Dead.
The Walking Dead. The young man, he was 31, he killed himself. And then right behind that, there were some other ones, even to recently, where Naomi Judd, not Naomi Judd, yes, just killed herself behind mental illness. And then I think it was Regina King's son who said, I need to stay off of social media. So my heart, that's what I'm saying. We have this is part 2. We need to be able to meet people, help people, treat people where they are, and talk to them. And I think groups like yours and the Kingdom Men's group like yours, were able to speak to people and give them, where there's no hope, give them hope. And there's conversations like we're having. We're not condemning anyone, because we don't have, I have no heaven or hell to put anybody in. But what we're saying is there are people out here that, like you guys, that can help in a time of crisis. Because sometimes you don't, as I'm a female, there's a lot of things I do well. I used to say it all the time. I had my nephew for a while when he was a kid. I said I do a whole lot of things well, but I don't know how to be a man. I'm not even going to try to be a man, because I don't want to step in a man's shoes, because I can't teach you what another man can teach you. Just like a man can't teach you. I mean, you can show us, but there's some things that moms need to teach the daughters. And that's a Troia thing. So somebody get mad at me for saying it, but I'm not a man. I can't teach you how to. And the hardest thing I had to show my grandson to do, that I'm raising, is how to use the bathroom. Standing up. That was the hardest thing I had to show him, because I'm like, that's not my hey Shay, that is not that's not my lane. That's clearly not my lane. And then y'all are just weird people as little people. Can I just say y'all are strange individuals. Because I'm like, oh, my grandson, I love him, but like, oh, you're just weird. He just does some weird stuff. And I'm like, I didn't teach you this. Maybe that's just who you are and your DNA as a man. I don't know. But what I said, we have to see, somebody else agrees with me. Somebody else, thank you, Miss Marcy. I'm not the only one that thinks little boys are weird. I love y'all, and I will always love you, support you, but y'all just weird. And I just look at them, I'm just like, oh my God. But anyway, with that said, we have about 1 good minute. we want you to, I don't care, you, Zay, or you, Bernard, and like I said, we're going to have to we're going to do part 2 for another conversation, and make sure we can have Demetrius on too. But how can people get in touch with you? What do you? Where are some things that where can they find you guys? Give all the information now, if you will, please, sirs, and then we'll close out.
Zay, I pass you the ball, man. Run it.
All right, Kingdom Men's Group. You can find us on Instagram and YouTube at Kingdom Men's Group. Or if you want to call me directly, I'm not scared. 404-957-1475. 404-957-1475. Again, we got an upcoming event, Prayer, Praise, and Purpose in the park, Alexander Park, June 4th at 10 o'clock in the morning. Be there.
And one last thing, just wanted to say this real quick. The harvest is plentiful, but the workers are few.
There's a few.
Yeah, there's still a lot of work to do, and God is using us to do what we're doing now, but there's still so much more, so much more help needed, so much more work to do. So I just want to put that out there.
Troia, thank you.
Sir.
I appreciate it, but I want to give you a little bit of advice with your nephew. Put Cheerios in the toilet bowl. Say, hey, aim for that right there.
Oh no, we're good. It's my grandson.
Oh, your grandson? Okay.
And we got him. We're good now.
You got it? All right. Cool.
Yes.
Hey, I'm just trying to help. That's all I'm trying to do.
Listen, that's what I'm saying. There's men folk. So we're good. We're good. We're good now. But I was like, oh my God, this is on my nerves. But anyway, maybe we try to bring them June, July, bring you all back end of June, beginning of July, somewhere in there. We'll see how that works to do a part 2.
Yep.
Like I said, and we are getting ready to hang up because and we are gone, and we are going to do our outro, and we'll see you in 2 weeks. Well, my guest will be Chaplain Mary Pierce. Thank you guys. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Good night, all.
God bless.
God bless.
Yes, sir.